Welcome to the Trail Running Briefing, the podcast for trail runners who want to understand their training and run better. Each week, one clear idea to help you train smarter, stay durable, and perform when it matters. Episode 27: The race you didn't finish. Recovering from a DNF. A DNF can hurt far more than the distance you covered. You may have trained for 3 months, 6 months, perhaps a full year. You sacrificed weekends, got up early, managed fatigue, planned your equipment and nutrition, and picture the finish countless times. Then, on race day, the journey ends at a aid station rather than beneath the finish arc. People may say, it's only a race, or immediately ask, what next? But it did matter. And moving on too quickly doesn't make you mentally stronger. The real challenge is learning to respect the disappointment without allowing one unfinished race to define you. The most useful way to process a DNF is to separate 3 things that often become mixed together: the pain, the story, and the lesson. First, the pain. A DNF represents a genuine loss. You have not only lost the result, you have lost the ending you imagined. Feeling disappointed, angry, embarrassed, or empty is not weakness. It is a normal response when something important doesn't happen. What runners often get wrong is trying to analyze everything immediately. Within hours, they are checking splits, comparing themselves with finishers, and choosing a redemption race. But when emotions are still high, analysis easily becomes self-attack. Give yourself a short recovery window. Eat, sleep, reconnect with the people who support you, and allow the disappointment to exist. You don't need to turn it into positive lesson on the same day. Sport psychology studies suggest that self-compassion, responding to failure with honesty and kindness rather than harsh judgment, can reduce self-criticism, rumination, and concern about mistakes. It's not making excuses. It creates a more stable position from which to learn. Ask yourself, what will I say to an athlete or close friend who had prepared seriously and experienced this? You will probably acknowledge the pain. Remind them that one result doesn't erase months of work, and let them recover from reviewing it. Offer yourself the same standard. Second, separate the story from the facts. The fact might be, I stopped at kilometer 80 because I could no longer keep fluids down. The story might be, I am mentally weak. Those are not the same thing. Write 2 headings on a page: facts and verdicts. And the facts record only what a camera, watch, medical volunteer, or crew member could reasonably confirm. And the verdicts write the harsh conclusion your mind is producing. I failed at this race. That might be accurate. I'm a failure is not. Research involving athletes has linked greater self-compassion with better recovery from negative emotions after recalling failure, as well as more adaptive psychological and physiological responses. Third, extract the lesson, but only after the emotional temperature has dropped. A useful debrief is not a courtroom. Its purpose is not to decide who is guilty. Its purpose is to improve your next decision. Ask 4 questions. What happened? Which factors were controllable? Which were not controllable? What are the 1, 2, 3 changes I will make? Be specific. I need to become tougher. It's not an action. I started too quickly. I had no practice eating overnight. I ignore an injury warning. Those answers give you something usable. Also, record what worked. Perhaps your climbing was strong, your feet remained healthy, or you managed several low points before the final problem. A DNF doesn't mean the entire performance was poor. Writing the experience down can help move your thoughts from an structured loop into a defined account. Experimental work with athletes suggests that a brief writing exercise following performance failure can reduce negative rumination and emotional reactions. Finally, rebuild through routine, not revenge. Don't immediately enter another race to prove something. First, recover physically and return to ordinary training. Complete a few easy runs without testing yourself. Re-establish sleep, appetite, and enjoyment. Then, decide whether you want another attempt, a different race, or sometime without a major goal. Returning to the same event can be powerful, but it should come from commitment, not punishment. The training wasn't wasted. Your fitness, strength, technical experience, and self-awareness don't disappear because your result says DNF. You didn't receive the finish you wanted, but you still became the runner who completed the preparation. To conclude, after a DNF, remember this sequence. Feel it, separate it, learn from it, then move forward. Feel the disappointment without shame. Separate the facts from the story you are telling about yourself. Extract a small number of useful lessons. Then rebuild through ordinary, consistent action. A DNF is painful because the goal mattered, but it is a result, not an identity. It records where one race ended. It doesn't decide where your running ends. So keep this sentence for the difficult days after an unfinished race. I did not finish this race, but this race has not finished me. That's today's trail running briefing. Understand your training, apply it on the trail, and run better.